Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Coding and Philosophy podcast. We are in a new place. We're in Proakatemia, brand new Proakatemia space. They built this nice podcasting studio here. 3.
Yeah.
Today, I was telling you about how I've learned that the way you can really lead people is not only through kind of with a carrot. You have to use the whip as well.
All right.
And I gave you the example of the way I recruited people for the data team. My data team is that I tried to create a sense of impending doom.
Yeah, that's called a deadline.
Yeah, a deadline. Well, basically the same, when you're establishing a cult,
Yeah.
you go...
Wait, what?
If one does establish a cult...
Right, that's escalated too quickly, but carry on.
So you basically... you instill some fear into the followers. That's how you control the followers, right? Is that you... you make them fear you, or not fear you, but fear this big entity, whatever it is. Like a lot of cults have like religion involved in it, or they in belief in some higher power, in some higher being, right? And that higher being is always angry, but the cult leader is like, let me like make sure you guys are like I'll take care of you guys. I'll talk to the big guy, the big entity, so that he's not gonna be so mad.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, so that's what I used during the data team.
Well, that remains to be questions.
Yeah, but I got some people who applied for it, and it's gonna be interesting to see where it's gonna be heading, because like I told you, the plan is that get a bunch of people interested in data, and then we're gonna analyze some websites and see what kind of insights we can offer to the website owners. Right?
Yeah, but what's up with the fear? I mean, I can tell. I don't like the fact that my data got collected. I don't know if that derives from fear, but it's derived from disturbance. I just disturbed by the fact that my data got collected.
But you fear because you fear the unknown, right? You fear what is gonna be done with that data.
Yeah. If I have to fear, I fear the scenario of 1982, 1984 will happen.
Yeah, but that's the...
brothers watching you.
You're always... That's the most common fear, I would say. Or like how you instill fear. You create a sense of impending doom. I think that's one way. Like that's why when you go to, I don't know, Udemy or some... They always have those like, buy now, only 15 minutes left until this offer expires, right? So that they instill some fear in you so that you buy more
That's why
easier.
And then knowing that, you have to overcome it. Because now you know that it's just a trick. Then you just reverse that.
Exactly.
You are not motivated to do that anymore.
But that's just, it works for naive minds, I feel like, or people who are, but it speaks about what you learn from that is that, fear is used everywhere to kind of guide your behavior into a direction that especially companies want, right? So, and it's a useful tool, right? Because we were talking about previously about if you want to unify a group of people under one vision, fear is a really good way to do that. And you might say that, well, that's really kind of, what's the word? You shouldn't use fear to unify people. Like, what is the word? I think in order to judge a person, you need to look at the impact of their actions, right? And you should use all the tools available, no matter how amoral they are, if it's for a greater good. How you feel about that?
Depending on the greater good.
Yeah, but I've also heard the saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? Do you understand what I mean by that?
The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah, meaning that, for example, I always refer back to Hitler. It's like Hitler probably didn't start out going, okay, I want to be the most evil man in the world, basically. He had some noble intentions at first, and then it just escalated, and he kind of walked his way to hell. But he paved his way to hell with good intentions, saying like, "Oh, I'm doing this to better whatever causes he believed in." You know what I mean?
Barely.
I mean more like, so you have I told you the story of this psychologist who he knew that the only way a couple therapy is going to work if two people are in the couple therapy, right? And then he used, well, let's say, amoral tactics to get so what he did basically is tell his female client, saying, giving false interpretations of the his husband's behavior in order to motivate the husband to come to the couple therapy, to set the record straight, right?
Yeah.
So he used amoral tactics and got a positive impact on that. So I guess my point is with it's kind of drifting away. But my point is, look, I don't think there aren't that many people people always have good intentions, right?
No. People don't always have good intention.
Well, generally speaking, I would say.
No.
It doesn't matter, like let's say all the most horrific dictators, or the most horrific, well, not all, but a lot of them who, like,
who's the judge of good or bad? They have intention.
Hmm?
Who's the judge of good and bad?
Well, I would say how people generally feel about it. Well, I don't know. That's actually a good question.
Yeah.
Who is the judge?
Yeah, people have attention. We can work on that.
Which?
People have intention. Carry on.
Yeah.
I can work with that.
Yeah. So people have an intention.
I accept that as an axiom. People have intention. So what follows that?
Well, then follows they want to have an impact on the world, right? They want to have some sort of I think most people want to have a positive impact. I think all of them want to have but they use, let's say, tactics which have a possibility of getting out of control. And sometimes they do get out of control. And that's when you have, horrific dictators.
Getting out of control?
Yeah.
Out of control? Control what? Control what? I haven't got your point yet.
I mean, to be honest, I'm not sure I get it yet.
All right.
I'm kind of drifting. I'm talking some thinking. Yeah.
But coming back to your first talking point, I do see that fear is a human motivation, and people are motivated if they have a fear in the back of their mind. It's the same as the mouse being chased by the cat. It's almost like an instinct that if there's a prey behind their back, which is fear, they are motivated to run forward. And that's why in the beginning I pull out the example of deadline, because we all in the position that when we have a deadline, we're so motivated to do the things necessary so that by the time the deadline is approaching, is impending on, then we won't have any consequence perceived by not completing whatever it is when the deadline reaches. I would say deadline is one of the most common example of how fear impact humans' behavior.
I don't know why, but I'm not enjoying this conversation.
Yeah. I mean, either. I don't know. I cannot really get into it.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
What's the point of doing something if you don't enjoy it? You know what I mean?
Want to switch the topic and just cut it out? Just cut the beginning out.
Yeah, I kind of want to do that. But what is the other topic?
Come on, let the spirit of Mercury arrives. Let the spirit of Mercury, something whimsical.
I don't know what that means.
What's in the back of your head lately? What are you interested lately?
I'm interested in the data team.
The data team?
I have plans for that.
Yeah? Any technical implementation? Or any big idea? Let's try to explore both technical side and strategic side.
Yeah. My head is going empty.
You may be tired. It's 15 to 9.
Possibly.
You usually sleep at this point, don't you?
Yeah, but it's bothering me how... What was different this time as opposed to last time? Maybe I always do write some stuff which happens during the week.
Yeah.
And then I go, oh, that would be interesting to talk about.
Can we analyze the reason why you don't like the topic or the talk about what we were having? Was it about the topic? Was it about the way you approach it?
I think... Why didn't I enjoy the topic? Well, because, to be honest, I was hoping that I didn't do enough planning for this. I think that might be a reason, because I was hoping that a topic about fear would somehow, right? It wasn't even that. I didn't have any topic planned for this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the reason. Maybe.
Maybe it's because some of the thing you say just doesn't click me.
That might be as well.
Yeah.
I think that's a bigger reason. And during our discussion there, I was hoping that the discussion about data, because I know you're really into data, I'm not into data, that would somehow carry over to here, but it didn't, because there wasn't really enough to discuss. Maybe...
A fear about data, or fear about personal information being collected.
Yeah. Well, I don't have that fear. It's hard for me to be...
Because in the beginning, you illustrate an example of you use fear to recruit members to your data team.
Yeah.
But that doesn't, like that example is kind of like carry the way of the conversation that you use fear-based tactic to manipulate and control people. I don't find that has any connections with the way we are dealing with data over there. Yeah,
It doesn't. Yeah.
It doesn't. Yeah. Then maybe if we talk a little bit and then the conversation can be swayed towards that. because it's data, and data can evoke some concern. I would use the word concern with people. I'm concerned. I don't like as I said, I do fear that 1984 dystopia scene will happen, and I don't want that.
But I mean, my feeling on that is that if we had all the data available, and you would just be able to look up anyone's basically data, then we would live.
So anyone can look up anyone. So I can look up the data about the president.
Yeah, for example.
How come can that be possible technically? I mean,
it's already possible with Google, because Google does track that, right?
To a certain extent. There are information, right? Our marital status, our criminal record, our health, the way we spend money, how much asset we have. There's no way that can be public and should be public.
Well, I'm talking when I say that
except tax percentage.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. So when I say that I want all data to be public, I mean all data which can be public. You know, that without
who draws the line?
But that's true.
Who draws the line?
Yeah. Maybe
if we leave that to that someone, who prevents them from turning their power into something not evil.
Because I believe in the good of humanity. So whenever there's an evil entity, there always is what is this? The laws of physics. There's for every action there's an opposite reaction. If there's some evil rises somewhere, there's some goodness that kind of combats that.
Yes.
Right. So I think about data how.
But who's the good? Who's the bad guy? Maybe perspective can be swayed, right? Yeah, like.
True.
But carry on with your story. I was just.
Yeah, I think the data being like, okay, here's what I imagine the world to be. That we would have loads of data, and the more data we have available, then the more different kinds of applications you can build with that, right?
Applications we build with that.
Yeah, applications, and the easier it is for you to build apps which make life easier, make life more efficient. Not even easier I mean, just you have more opportunities to build stuff, the more data there is available. And I really want that, you know?
Maybe. I was referring more to the people itself. Because it is people that empower people. It's today. What I mean by that is technology advancement is created by people, and we have been inventing ways to make life more efficient. It is not about the data, it's about the human. We have inventing tools from the axe by having a stick and a stone and wrap them together by means of other. Those are humans' invention. And then move onward. We have the steel age, what humans are able to forge, and using those tools made from steel and metal that further improve human productivity. And then now we automate things with robots and machines that pushes the boundary for productivity. Yeah. So in the future, maybe data is there, but it is the human who can transform them.
So when you talk about data, or like, what is your fear? Can you describe? You talked about you fear the
1984.
Yeah. Can you describe what is your fear about us collecting too much data?
I am known too much. People know me. The fact that someone else just know me better who I am and then decide to take advantage of that.
But there's also an equal amount of people who understand you better and they want to make life, or they can now make life easier for you, or
Yeah.
not, or more. They want to do good for you. There's
Yeah.
equal amount of people who want to do harm, and there's and good. You know, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. For example, going to the hospital. The doctor has access to the history and the records of everything I have done, accessing the healthcare in here, including public and private. They are all centralized, so they know what's up with me. In a sense, it's good because a dentist can deal with whatever problem I have, and it doesn't need to be I have to rely on one person who knows it all. But because the information is distributed, it is in one place, but that means all the doctor have access to it. So it's distributed in that sense, so that I can move on to another doctor and he can catch up with my record and understand me from a health perspective and diagnose me.
What is the type of data you don't want to be collected?
My spending behavior, my internet activities behavior, because those are very too easy to build a personnel or a model of who I am as a person, and it can reveal the depth of psychology and personality. And for example, marketeers, politicians, knowing that they can forge any messages and then present that to me, and I will be triggered because I know that it clicks me. Those messages are engineered so that it clicks me, and those messages are crafted based on my information, or collections of the collection of information and messages that people who are like me behave or share, and those messages will click us, and it will motivate us to do some action, and that some actions can be, well, buy something, vote for this politician, believe in this promise.
But I do think if you have critical thinking skills, and if you have, like, you have to have the ability to let's say, resist a lot of what the internet gives to you.
Let's scale this a little bit. Yes, I understand that if we have the critical thinking mindset, and some cautiousness, but I do have to point that we are human. We cannot be critical thinking and be cautious all the time. There is a personality who be analytical and cautious all the time, but not all. I'm not. I will be easygoing and laid back and irrational many of the time, and I am swayed by emotions and impulsivity. Scale it further, it's not just me. It's a society, and society has people are different. People will be bought and triggered by those messages crafted by the information collected from them, so that they are fed with a feedback loop, a loop that they are given what they want. They will get it, and then get it more in exchange for more money to the businessman, the marketeers, politician, religions.
You're afraid that
I'm afraid that I lose my sense of individuality and my sense of sovereignty of consciousness.
Oh, yeah.
Because they are manipulated.
Yeah, you're controlled, basically. You become a puppet for these advertisers and people who can see that they have something to gain from puppeteering you, basically.
Yes. That's the dystopia in my head, or in my vision.
Yeah, I get that. Maybe my stance on it actually changed a lot after hearing all that. But I do feel maybe this is a tendency of mine when I hear that people have strong opinions about something, and I'm not saying that you have strong opinions about, like, you don't see data as black and white. You can clearly see it from all different. You can see the utility as well as but just I have an idea that data is seen as something black and white. People dislike it kind of initially without kind of having the critical thinking about it, and that causes me to have a strong reaction. So I want all data to be collected. I say a crazy thing like that, which now thinking about it critically, it's not. I'm doing the same thing other people are doing, but just on the opposite direction. Because why not start there, and then you talk to people and you figure out what is the actual, like, there's, I like to quote, there's your opinion, my opinion, and the truth. It's somewhere in between. So yeah, I think
I'm glad that you see my perspective.
Yeah, definitely. It's not as clear cut, and this is just maybe a tendency of mine. So whenever someone starts talking about,
we can have a more optimistic look. Let's take it a bright side of it. For me, data is a very general term. Not only there is numeric number data, but also text data, information, right? We see the word in terms of information. For example, our audience leaves a comment saying that, hey, I like this topic. That's data, isn't it? And we collect those data. We take those information, we process it and say, oh, someone left us a comment as they like this topic. Maybe we should do it more. Information drives action. So you see.
You mean we read the comment and then we start going, okay, what actions do we take based on this comment?
Yeah.
We might go, oh, people really enjoy this episode.
Isn't that data? That's data. Or that's how I see it. Data, data, information. I can see that data we're collecting is not just number data. Yes, it can be turned into number, like the way web analytics is collecting users' interaction, but it's also about text and idea, emotion, information. Yeah. So when we are talking with each other, we see each other facial expression, the way we engage in this conversation. That is data. Those are data. We intake it, we process it in the head, right? And that process motivates us into action, into behavior. Yeah.
You know what I just realized? I realized the reason why I wasn't enjoying the beginning of the conversation. And it was because I wasn't listening. I wasn't really listening to you. I went into this thinking, oh, I need to start talking. Like, how do I explain this? Like, it's not enjoyable just to go into a conversation
and you just talk.
And I just talk and talk and talk.
That's called a lecture.
Yeah, it's not it's not a conversation.
Yeah.
And it's much more enjoyable when like when you actually take the time to listen. And maybe that was the reason let's say even the past few podcasts, I haven't been really listening, maybe.
I just come up with an analogy. Would you be interested in listening?
Go ahead.
Imagine you get into a website, you enter the address, hit enters, and got a 404. How do you feel?
I feel frustrated. Oh, I feel, what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happened when only you talk, because you send a request but nothing got back in response.
That's true. That's true. It's like,
So it's like we have to establish the relationship as you send a request, I process it, I send back a response. And then I also send a request. You process, you send back the response. It's a constant pinging of information.
yeah. And I think what I just realized is a good tool to do that is that when you say something, I repeat it back to you. So is this what you mean? Or is this what you fear about data, for example? And then, yeah. Man, I don't know if it will actually... I'll do some editing on this episode, but it's just more interesting to analyze the yeah, it's whatever we're analyzing here. Just the way we talk, the nature, and what makes what makes this podcast enjoyable, right? Listening, that's the thing. It's the golden rule for any conversation, because you can really get into... You think you know the other person, you get too comfortable, and you go, okay, I already know what he's gonna say, so I'm just gonna wait until I get to speak. But it's, there's so many layers to a person that you can't really, you can never know them more, So yeah, I think we need to start peeling back the layers a lot more, or I need to start doing that at least. Yeah.
Do you fear data collection now, or have I managed to instill a slight seed of fear in terms of the data collection landscape?
Yeah, you did.
I bring perspective. That's at least I would hope I would do.
I don't know if it's fear, but it definitely made me realize that I sometimes take the extreme side just for the sake of having the extreme side on an opinion. And I say ridiculous statements like, all data should be... But yeah. No, not even but I see it's much more complicated now in my head, the whole data collection. But okay, going back to it, I do definitely think that a lot of people have unnecessary fears, or what's the word? Paranoia about data collection, and see it as inherently bad to collect data, which is not. It's much more complicated than that.
What do you mean? The fact that you have a henkilökortti, the fact that you have a person identity card or number is already data collection. The moment you are born and given a birth certificate is already a data collection.
True. So we have always collected data, but now I think it enters a new realm when we have the internet, and the biggest thing is tracking what people do on the internet.
Yes.
Right?
And it can get extreme. Because now you spend so much time on the internet. If all of those are collected, I can see that I am known too much.
Yeah. And you're known too much to an entity that seeks to exploit you in a way. So that's the scary thought about data collection, is that you definitely made me realize how, I used to believe that, okay, I'm not gonna use any, take all of my data basically to big companies, because well, I wasn't thinking, let's say, I wasn't thinking clearly. I was thinking it too black and white. But now, after what you've told me, you made me realize that I should ban certain type of data collection, definitely. Because those big companies, they don't have my best interest in their heart,
But your money is in their best interest.
Yeah, So, and me losing money or me doing, basically going back to my, what is the primordial, I always say primordial instinct, which is the same thing. But
Alright.
primordial desires, which is like, that's what the advertisers are trying to tap into. It's like your like basic senses of like, they're trying to override your rationality, go into your emotions and appeal to those emotions to have you do well, spending on there for them, basically. Yes, I think that's what I've realized is.
Shall we call it a day?
Let's call it a day. This was a really, I don't know if this is gonna be enjoyable to listen to, but it was very important for me to realize a couple of things. It was a very important podcast. Yeah.
Oh, it's the first time we tried out this bunker.
Oh, exactly. So we bid you farewell. I'll do some editing, see what I can be used for this. It might be all over the place. You might see a lot of different cuts.
Goodbye.
See you guys.